Hi, the SI meteorologist Paul Dorian here at Friday, February 22nd. A cold morning here in the Mid-Atlantic region. Some light precipitation is on its way. It looks like it'll be cold enough for a light wintry mix later on this morning and early afternoon across the DC region, late this afternoon and tonight across Philadelphia, and overnight tonight in the New York City region. A more important storm develops tomorrow along the southeast U.S. coast and moves to the mid-Atlantic coast. So that looks like that'll provide rain in the I-95 corridor from D.C. to Baltimore to Philadelphia and New York City during the day tomorrow into tomorrow night, and snow in the much of New England later on tomorrow night into early Sunday. There's been 2 or 3 weekends in a row now of substantial snow in New England. Looks like they'll get some more substantial snow late Saturday night into the early part of Sunday. Before we get into the upcoming weekend situation, I thought we would take a quick look at the stratosphere. We had a big stratospheric warming event earlier this winter that kind of changed the tables in terms of temperature pattern, with much colder air following the stratospheric warming event in the central and eastern U.S. Let's just take a quick look here and see there may be the beginning signs of another stratospheric warming event. We'll loop through this from the late January to just a couple of days ago. This is actually, notice here all the above normal temperatures. What we're looking at is a 10 millibar level throughout the world. This is way up in the atmosphere, the stratosphere, 10 millibars. This is in late January. Notice temperature anomalies here, much above normal here. This is towards the latter stages of that earlier stratospheric warming event. Once we loop this, kind of focus in on this particular area, and you'll see right in here, you'll see maybe the beginnings of another stratospheric warming event that we'll, of course, monitor here at the siweather.com over the next several days. Let's start this loop right now. And again, this initial stratospheric warming event fades away, but then there's kind of beginning signs of perhaps another one starting up here, and this will be interesting to follow over the next several days to see if indeed there's another stratospheric warming event that could have an effect on global temperatures. Well, let's get back to the current situation here. This is the very latest surface map. The storm that dumped a lot of snow in the middle part of the country has weakened considerably this morning. It's grinding to a halt as it moves into the Great Lakes region. A little bit of moisture is working its way towards the Mid-Atlantic region, and again, temperatures are cold enough that there very well could be snow, sleet, freezing rain, anything in that scenario could occur over the next several hours into the overnight hours in the Mid-Atlantic region. Meanwhile, down along the Gulf, lots of moisture remaining down here, and this will evolve into quite an important coastal storm that'll move up off the northeast coast, and again, looks like it'll be mainly a rain event for D.C., Baltimore, Philadelphia, New York City, but from northern Connecticut, let's say, up all the way into southern Maine, it could turn out to be quite a snowstorm, perhaps 3 to 6 inches across central and northern Connecticut, 6 to 12 inches perhaps in central Massachusetts up to southern Maine, maybe 4 to 8 inches in and around the Boston area. Again, another significant snowfall for the New England area over the weekend, but for the I-95 corridor from D.C. to New York City, it looks like primarily rain on Saturday into Saturday night. Here's the latest infrared satellite loop from the SSEC Wisconsin website. Again, the circulation here is associated with that what was a strong storm that dumped a lot of snow in the middle part of the country. It's weakened considerably as it moves into kind of a blocking pattern in the upper atmosphere, grinds to a halt and weakens. Meanwhile, development down here along the Gulf, lots of moisture, lots of clouds here, and this evolves into a storm over the next 24 hours that then becomes quite an important coastal storm as it moves up off the northeast coast later this weekend, Saturday into the early part of Sunday. Here's the latest radar loop from the Penn State EWAL site, and the colors here represent the precip type, with blues in the form of snow. The pinks represent some kind of a mixture of sleet or freezing rain, and then just plain rain in the greens and yellows down here from the Carolinas on south. Notice it just kind of falls apart as it moves into the dry air here in the northeast. It's losing all of its upper level support as that Great Lakes low falls apart as well. So there can be Some wintry mix here in D.C. and Philly and even New York City by tonight, but nothing on the heavy side. It looks like for the next 12 to 18 hours, just light precipitation at best. Although all it takes is a little bit of light wintry mix here to cause some slippery spots. So that certainly can occur overnight tonight, for example, in the Philadelphia region or during the day across the D.C. region. But a light precip event for anything that falls today into tonight. Then tomorrow it becomes more important precip in the form of rain along the I-95 corridor. Well, let's walk through the GFS forecast map sequence from tonight to tomorrow morning, tomorrow night. This is from last night's Zero-Z GFS model run. Again, not much going on here in the Mid-Atlantic region as of this evening. Just a light precipitation event. It'll be off and on, light snow, sleet, freezing rain, up and down the I-95 corridor. It will be light, but even a light precip like that can cause some slippery spots, so be careful there. A lot of moisture here hanging back here in the southeastern U.S. And again, this is this evening's forecast. Meanwhile, what was a blizzard out in the middle part of the country is weakening considerably here over the Great Lakes region, with not much more than just some light snow in that region by this evening. Now, by tomorrow morning, quite an impressive area is starting to develop here in the southeastern part of the U.S. Got kind of a weak high here over New England, maintaining some cold air in that part of the country. This storm just grinded to a halt here by this time, pretty much falls apart after this time frame here. Now, notice the rain-snow line is already kind of far north here in terms of possible rain in southeastern PA or Maryland or Virginia. It's already way up there, but New England is still in the cold air. Let's now go to tomorrow night. By tomorrow night, the GFS model has an important coastal storm, and here it is, just off the Mid-Atlantic coast. Again, pretty much in the form of rain from D.C. to New York City, but just anywhere pretty much north of this blue line here, in the form of snow in places like northern Connecticut, across Massachusetts, and New Hampshire, Vermont, all the way into southern Maine. Look like they'll get significant snow as this storm continues to pull up to the north and east, and they'll stay in the cold air there. But from New York City down to D.C. and Philadelphia, looks like it'll be primarily in the form of rain tomorrow into tomorrow night. Stay tuned to the SIweather.com for any updates later on today. That's it for now. I'm the SI meteorologist, Paul Dorian.